It's one thing to lose a tough game in the middle of the season, but what happened against the Houston Texans wasn't just another loss. It felt like a breaking point. The Kansas City Chiefs walked into Arrowhead needing a win to keep their playoff hopes alive, and instead they put up one of the most frustrating performances of the entire Andy Reid era. Falling to 6-7, dropping 2 straight, and watching the path to the postseason shrink down to a single, razor-thin scenario: win every remaining game or pack it up, is not where anyone expected this team to be in December. What made it sting even more is that the Texans didn't just beat the Chiefs, they exposed the Chiefs. Houston's defense, the best in the NFL this season, made Kansas City look flat, predictable, and desperate. 10 total points. That's it. Their lowest output since 2023, ignoring last season's Week 18 throwaway game when the starters rested. This time, the starters were out there. Patrick Mahomes was out there. And the offense still looked stuck in the mud. Mahomes had what many are calling the worst game of his career. 3 interceptions, frustration all over his face. But when you actually look at the tape, it's clear he was doing everything he could to keep the Chiefs in it. He was running, improvising, forcing plays when nothing else was working, and even that wasn't enough. When your quarterback is the only spark on offense, you're in trouble. And Kansas City has been living in that danger zone for weeks. The heavy truth is that this loss didn't appear out of nowhere. It was the result of trends that have been building since September: the sluggish starts, the inconsistency at wide receiver, the lack of identity in the run game, the patchwork offensive line struggling to keep Mahomes upright, and above all, the front office's reluctance to address obvious issues when they had the chance. Against Houston, all of it finally collided. Now, you and I both know that Chiefs fans are used to late-season fireworks, dramatic turnarounds, and Mahomes performing miracles. But this time the mountain looks steeper than ever. The Chiefs aren't just fighting opponents anymore. They're fighting the consequences of decisions made months ago. Before we move on, I want to hear from you. Do you still believe the Chiefs can realistically win out and sneak into the playoffs? Drop a yes or no in the comments. And while you're here, make sure to subscribe to help us reach 6,000 subscribers and hit that like button to get this video out to more Chiefs fans. If there's one theme that keeps punching this team in the mouth week after week, it's the absolute collapse of the run game. And against Houston, it finally caught up with them in the worst possible way. When Patrick Mahomes, your franchise quarterback, your MVP, the best player on the planet, is your leading rusher, you're already in a dangerous spot. And the numbers back that up. Every game this season, where Mahomes has led the Chiefs in rushing, has ended in a loss. Week 14 was no different. Kansas City finished with 126 yards on the ground, and Mahomes contributed nearly half of that on scrambles and broken plays. That's not a run game. That's survival mode. Kareem Hunt scored the lone touchdown, but even then, it wasn't because the ground game suddenly came alive. It was a short yardage push, the kind of play you expect him to handle. Outside of that moment, the run game had no teeth. Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco essentially posted identical stat lines, except Hunt punched in a score. And speaking of Pacheco, this is the hardest part to talk about, because Chiefs fans love the guy. He used to run angrier than anyone in the league, but the injuries have piled up. His physical style, the constant pounding, the mileage, it's taken a toll. He just isn't the same force he was during that breakout rookie year. He's not hitting holes with the same explosion, and he's not breaking tackles the way he used to. He's giving everything he has, but the spark isn't there. The bigger issue, though, is philosophical. The Chiefs knew this was a problem in September. They saw the inconsistencies. They saw Mahomes having to bail out the offense every single week. They saw how predictable the offense became when teams didn't have to respect the run. And yet, nothing changed. No aggressive moves. No trade to upgrade the backfield. No meaningful scheme adjustments. It was all hesitation and hope that things would magically fix themselves. Houston made sure that illusion was shattered. And now, Chiefs fans are left wondering, how did an organization built on speed, creativity and explosiveness allow its run game to deteriorate this far? How did it get to the point where Mahomes is literally carrying the rushing attack on his shoulders? Before heading into Chapter 3, I want your take. Should the Chiefs have benched Pacheco earlier this year and gone with a full committee approach, or was sticking with him the right call? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget, if you're enjoying this breakdown, hit that like button and subscribe to help us reach 6,000 subscribers. This is the chapter a lot of fans don't want to talk about, but it might be the most important part of the entire story: the front office. The truth is, the Chiefs didn't suddenly fall apart against the Texans. This was a slow slide, created by hesitation and missed opportunities at the top, and it finally boiled over in Week 14. Let's start with the biggest storyline: Brett Veach passing on Breece Hall. This wasn't some rumor tossed around by fans on social media. The Chiefs had a legitimate window to trade for the Jets' star running back earlier in the season, a move that would have immediately transformed their offense. Hall has been electric this year. Outside of just 2 games, he hasn't rushed for fewer than 30 yards. Meanwhile, Pacheco has been fighting for every yard he can get, and most weeks he's lucky to even hit that number. Hall isn't just explosive, he's versatile. He's the kind of back who forces defenses to hesitate, adjust, and respect the run, which opens up the entire passing game. Exactly what this offense has been missing. But the Chiefs didn't pull the trigger. They played it safe. They bet on internal development, on things magically improving, and on Mahomes being able to overcome every weakness around him. That's been the plan for years. Let Mahomes be the eraser. But this year, the gap was too wide for even him to cover. It wasn't just Hall either. Other running backs were available, offensive linemen were available, depth at wide receiver was available, and every time Kansas City hesitated. Sometimes it feels like the organization bought too deeply into the idea that being good enough in the regular season is all they need, because Mahomes will carry them when it matters. But now they're 6-7, staring at the possibility of missing the playoffs for the first time in the Mahomes-Reed era. That's not a slump. That's the cost of complacency. And the frustration from Chiefs Kingdom is real. Fans aren't asking for the team to trade every pick or chase splashy moves every offseason. They're asking for urgency. They're asking for adaptation. They're asking for a front office that sees the same issues everyone else does and acts on them before it's too late. Before we move into Chapter 4, I want to hear from you directly. If the Chiefs had traded for Breece Hall, do you think they'd have at least 2 more wins right now? Drop your prediction in the comments. And while you're here, make sure to like the video and subscribe to help us reach 6,000 subscribers. Fan, now that we've broken down the coaching decisions, the player performances, and the deeper issues beneath the surface, it's time to zoom out and talk about what all of this really means for the rest of the Kansas City Chiefs 2025 season. Because even after a frustrating loss like this one to Houston, the season isn't over. And honestly, there's still a real path forward, but only if Kansas City makes some key adjustments immediately. First and foremost, this team still has Patrick Mahomes. That alone gives the Chiefs a weekly chance against anyone. But the front office and coaching staff can't continue assuming Mahomes will erase every mistake forever. This loss shows that KC has to stop playing with fire. Cleaning up situational football, fixing clock management, and giving Mahomes at least a baseline of structural support has to happen right away. And let's be real. You, me, and every Chiefs fan knows this. The AFC isn't waiting around. The Texans just proved they're for real. Baltimore, Buffalo, Miami, Cincinnati, all of them are going to bring problems in January. The margin for error is microscopic. But if the Chiefs can correct the communication breakdowns and finally commit to a more balanced identity, the upside is still huge. This roster is flawed, but it is absolutely talented enough to make noise down the stretch. This is where leadership becomes everything. Andy Reid has been through far worse stretches than this, and Mahomes has never folded when the season got tight. The question isn't whether the Chiefs can rebound. The real question is whether they'll finally stop beating themselves. So I'll put it to you directly, fan. Do you think the Chiefs will make the playoffs this season? Yes or no? Drop it in the comments. I want to see where Chiefs Kingdom stands after this roller coaster of a loss. Before you head out, make sure to hit that like button to push this video out to more fans, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. We're pushing hard to reach 6,000 subscribers, and your support genuinely helps keep Total Chiefs News growing every single day. Stay locked with Total Chiefs News. Hail Chiefs!